Arm yourselves, America. This is the Fitters Live with Mojo 50. You can find us pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts, but if you'd like to hear us live and you'd like to see what's going on, you can check us out on iHeartRadio at the Mojo 50 radio app, or you can go to Facebook Live/Mojo 50 radio. Before I get going on everything else, obviously you guys can see the wonderful lady that's up on the screen, but let me tell you about one simple place to go, Airey Capital Management. You see, retirement planning is not something to overlook. You need to act now. Contact Airey Capital Management today. They can help put investment plans into place using their in-house portfolio management process. See, it's your life, your era. Invest in it. Airey Capital Management, LLC is a registered investment advisor. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. Visit aireycapitalmanagement.com or call them at 509-559-6229. That's 509-559-6229, aireycapitalmanagement.com. Let Jacob know that we sent you over at Mojo. Tonight, I have with me Miss Carla. I'm going to say your name wrong. Dedesi.
You said it perfectly right.
I
Like
said
you're
it
Italian. Do you have a little Italian in you, Steven?
I have a little bit, yes. Just a little bit.
That was perfect.
So Carla Dedesi, she is with the Culture of Life. It's COL1972.com. And you can see all of the stuff in the background here with the shirts and everything else. But so the Culture of Life, tell us, what is COL1972.com?
Well, I have 3 daughters, 18, 15, and 13. Shopping is our cardio. We felt very marginalized, like there were a lot of brands that we could not subscribe to because perhaps their spokesperson was somebody that did not stand for our Pledge of Allegiance or our national anthem, or perhaps they had changed their bathroom policy and their fitting rooms to allow men like you to come into my fitting rooms and bathrooms.
Not like me, I promise. Not like me.
Thank you.
Saying.
Thank you for understanding there's only 2 genders. And you don't want me in your bathroom and I don't want you in my bathroom.
That's correct.
But we really felt marginalized. A lot of the messaging was very harsh, not happy, very anti-women. So we decided to create our own fashion brand. And so we have always been huge celebration of lifers. We believe that every life is a gift. We want to celebrate all life every minute of every day. So we came up with Culture of Life 1972.
Okay.
Because it's our prayer that we get back to that year, 1972, when every life had the right to life and we didn't deny anyone the right to life. As you know, 1973, the Supreme Court came in. The Supreme Court ruled, right? They went against what the people wanted. Supreme Court ruled tiniest people did not have the right to life. And in the States, in the United States, 60 million people have been denied that right to life. So we just want to live in a culture of life. We're hoping that we're able to leave a legacy of life to our kids. So that is what Col 1972 is all about. We are glamorizing life. We're tired of the abortionists claiming that it's cool to have abortions, that it's fun, that it's just like getting your wisdom teeth taken out. We reject that.
Yeah, well, you know, if you listen to comedians or anything like that, there's 2 trains of thoughts, and a comedian put it the best way. It's either basically going to the bathroom or it's killing a life. And so we subscribe to it's killing a life.
Right. At 6 weeks, we can hear the heart beating. So it's not a puppy dog inside of the mother. It's not a tree. It's a human life.
Are we sure it's not a VW bus?
Nope, definitely not that. Actually, VW buses and puppies and trees have more rights than babies these days.
That is sad, but very, very true.
I know.
Sad,
So
true.
Again, you know, if you go to col1972.com, again, you're just going to see not our models are not in promiscuous poses. We say that it's parent friendly. It's also kid friendly. It's family friendly shopping. And we also have a charitable arm. We're giving 10% back from every one of your sales to Celebration of Life organizations. So we were able to sponsor a bus, and we took 56 people from Pennsylvania down to the March for Life. And we were there marching with 700,000 people.
Nice.
That were really excited to celebrate life. And as you know, Vice President Pence was there live with Karen.
He was.
Trump Yeah, Trump streamed in. It's the second year that he's streamed in. So, for those of us that are on the side of life, this is ridiculously exciting for us because this is the most pro life president that our country has ever, ever, ever seen. Ronald Reagan was very pro life. If you've read his book, Conscious of a Nation, it was amazing. I love that book.
Mm-hmm.
But even Donald Trump is more pro life than he, because you know what? He needs to be. We're selling babies' body parts.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's true.
exactly. So he's never really had to stand up for life the way that other presidents have needed to do, because it's really gotten out of control with infanticide happening in New York. And by the way, we know that it doesn't need to be an abortionist.
Right.
I won't call them doctors. I refuse to call them doctors.
They're not really doctors.
No. It's blood money. So these abortionists are doing late-term abortions, but guess what? New York law says that it can also be midwives, nurse practitioners, physician's assistants that can do this procedure.
Yep.
Why not me? Why not you? Why
Can
not a
basically
dentist?
be anybody that knows any sort of general idea or understanding of that area.
Right. Isn't it interesting? Like, they need to understand biology, but why don't they understand that biology starts at the moment of conception?
You see, that's a disconnect that we find. You know, we are science deniers. You and I are science deniers for saying that it's a life.
Right.
For some reason, that's science denying, even though science is what proves that it's a life overall. But we're the science deniers, and then they go out and through and say, you know, they cheer themselves and give themselves claps on the back and everything like that. Just when they pass these bills and these legislations that, you know, all it does is enact an entire portion, a generation of kids that are never going to be born.
So they are killing Picassos and teachers and doctors and researchers and people that will be doing great things. They're just aborting them. This is the greatest Holocaust. I mean, today in the United States of America, well, the whole entire world really, we're making Hitler look as if he was Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
Honestly, think about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the leading cause of death worldwide in 2018, this is something I was sharing with you but before we really got started here, but 2018, leading cause of death killed 42 million people, and it was abortion.
Worldwide. In 1 year.
That's right.
In 1 year, 42 million people.
Yes, this was independently gathered information, too. This wasn't like a left-wing site or a right-wing site. This was just a study group that wanted to find out what was going on. A statistician. That's all it is.
That number is astounding, but I know that when we do not defend the tiniest of lives, when we say that their lives are expendable, these are the kinds of thoughts that lead to racism, for example. You know, we have Northam, the governor, that came out as a racist. That didn't surprise me, Stephen, because if he believes that he can play God and say that somebody with black skin is not as important as somebody with white skin, and this goes on, then obviously he's also going to say, well, a baby at 10 weeks isn't as important as a baby at 5 years old outside of the womb. Like, who gets to play God? These people have been playing God for way too long. And let me tell you something, government makes a terrible, terrible God. They also make terrible, terrible parents.
Well, they also make terrible, terrible government. I mean, it's just what it is.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
A government out of control leads to tyranny, and that is the problem with this. What we see that people are legislating death. To the nth degree. They're legislating killing children left and right without regard to what will happen to the future.
Correct. And we know what happens in the future. We know that when we do not protect the tiniest of lives, Mother Teresa said that you live in a very violent society because we are not protecting the tiniest. So all of these school shootings that we're seeing, I sincerely believe they tie right back to we do not value the tiniest of lives in this country.
Whoa. But if it protects one life, if it saves one child, we have to make this legislation happen.
Are we changing gears now and going to gun legislation?
I know, right? Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I know. So suddenly the liberals and the lefts grow a heart when it has to do with school shooting, which, by the way, you've heard it here first. I sincerely believe that a lot of the school shootings, I believe that the liberal left are almost targeting young kids and saying, here's a gun, go and shoot the school up. I mean, what we saw at Parkland with the absolute denial that there was tragedy and things happening there, with the sheriff that wasn't going in there and protecting kids.
Right.
And then suddenly everybody was super organized. Within 24 hours, they were marching everywhere. I was like, wait a minute. I'm not sure. I think that they all knew this was going to happen somehow. But in all reality, I really do believe that the left is absolutely out of control. I believe that it's because we are winning so hard for life. I believe that they are getting paid big bucks from Planned Parenthood to push this death agenda. This is blood money.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It is. There's no other way of saying it. Yes.
Right. And so, listen, we know that a lot of people sell their souls to the devil for their 50 years of existence here on this earth. And, whatever that looks like. But currently, we're seeing our country. But I think that this evil that's happening in New York is actually going to be really used for good, because in the last 3 weeks, I've had so many viable conversations about abortion, where prior to that, people were just so, well, I'm pro-life, Carla, but I would never tell a woman what to do with her body. Now they finally see, I believe, the real agenda of the left. It was never, by the way, in 1973 with Roe versus Wade, when they said, oh, there's a little girl here and she's been raped, and how is she gonna, it's terrible and evil for you to make her carry this child for 9 months. Meanwhile, we then found out that the person was never raped, and that they put her up to say and do all of that. She was a puppet for them, kind of like Dr. Ford just was with Kavanaugh, by the way. So this is a pattern that the left does, right? They lie and they lie, and they have agendas, and it doesn't matter what the end result is as long as they're getting paid at the end of it and they get their way. So I believe that, in the 70s, when they were changing policy in the United States of America, they didn't say to us, because we weren't ready to hear it, we want abortion to 40 plus weeks. We want the government to pay for it. No questions asked, which truly is their real agenda. And by the way, it's a big bonus that we get to sell arms and legs and lungs for $75 a pop, and I can have a couple of Lamborghinis.
Or a few $1,000s a pop. I mean,
exactly.
What's a few $1,000s between organs?
Yes, exactly. Which, by the way, the infanticide, these organs are worth a lot more, right? They're more developed.
And see, the whole thing with this, the longer term the baby is, the more developed the organs are, and the more likely they're going to do something like, I don't know, induce a pregnancy, let the baby live outside of the womb until they can harvest the organs.
So again, this culture of death leads to culture of death. And that's why we're seeing teen suicide is up, hopelessness with our teens, cutting with our teens. We're seeing school shootings. It all absolutely ties back to the tiniest of lives are not protected across the world, as you just said with your, 41? I actually just found the article, 41.9 million babies in 2018, Worldometer's clock.
Yeah.
More than cancer, HIV, AIDS, smoking, alcohol, malaria, traffic accidents, and by the way, guns.
Right, because guns is way down on the list when it comes to those sorts of things. Now, if you guys want to take advantage of doing something with your money that could stop funding these things, you can go to patriotmobile.com. See, here's the truth. Your cell phone companies that you're working with, normally, they're providing funds to liberal gun grabbers, legislation for abortions, and other such. Patriot Mobile is America's only conservative cell phone company, and it's doing the exact opposite. If you're fed up with disgusting policies like the New York abortion law, or the Bloomberg's gun control ban, or the stalemate at the border policies, and all the other crap, Simply switch to Patriot Mobile. Join thousands of Americans using Patriot Mobile and get reliable nationwide coverage and watch your hard-earned dollars fight for your First, Second Amendment rights, the border security, and the sanctity of life. It's a veteran-led company. Patriot Mobile donates a portion to every bill donates a portion of every bill to conservative causes like the Heritage Foundation, the NRA, the Susan B. Anthony List. Heck, maybe you need to get up with them. They might be able to work with the culture of life, too. Switching to Patriot Mobile is easy, and their unlimited talk and text plans start as low as $20 a month. If you need more motivation, just mention Doc when you call 1-800-A-PATRIOT or visit them online at patriotmobile.com/mojo. That's patriotmobile.com/mojo, or call them at 1-800-A-PATRIOT/Doc. So back to this. Okay, we have tons of articles that you guys have posted out. I actually looked over your website while I was going through a few things, and I saw I saw a couple of the articles that you had. Is there anything that you want to highlight specifically out of there, what you have going on right now?
Well, I just want to say that cole1972.com, if you go and check out our website, it is all culture of life. We want to leave a legacy of life to our kids. We really are building our tribe. We sold out of stuff within a couple of days. We just got all that stuff back in for our life tribers. We're really building a life tribe. You know, when I was in college, if I could relay this true story to you, I was a freshman in college. There was a girl on my floor within the first month, I think, did get pregnant at college. And I'm going back to 1990 something. Okay. And there were probably close to 40 girls on our floor. This is when it was all girls dorms. Right. It wasn't co-ed. Right. Wow.
Co-ed is crazy.
What an idea.
I know, right?
So gender specific. So anyway, there were about 40 girls. I know.
Sexists.
What? I know. Racist, bigots. So there were 40 girls on our floor. And I was the only one that was saying to this girl, please choose life. Adoption is a great option. Please, I'll help you. I can get you connected, like giving her all of these resources. And the 38 other girls on the floor, it was like, abortion. You can't do anything else but. You can't do anything else but. My prayer for Cole 1972 is that we can change the mantra so that when one of our young girls, no matter what their age, gets pregnant, there's not going to be that stigma on them anymore. You have 38 girls coming around her saying, you can do this. You're strong enough. You can choose life. I know that your circumstances are less than desirable, but you're still strong enough to choose life. And guess what? In life, a lot of times it's hard to do the right decision. It's hard to do the right thing, but we still have to choose to do it. So I would like to see it flipped. That the majority is saying life is amazing, life is glamorous, let's leave a legacy of life. And that one person is saying you should abort. And I really, truly believe that that is coming. And let me tell you why. Because our young kids are not as stupid as the liberals claim they are. We now have 4D ultrasounds. We have the stats that tell us when our young girls walk into a bus that sits outside of Planned Parenthood that has an ultrasound machine, 4 out of 5 girls choose to keep that baby because they hear the heartbeat. They see that it looks like a baby.
Oh, that's a real thing. It's not just some crazy zygote.
It doesn't look like a frog. It doesn't look like a blob of tissues. It's not, a piece of toast.
Speaking of, sorry, tangent for just a second.
I love tangents.
They're still using that crap in science class.
I know.
They're still the same stuff from the 1920s and the 1930s from a guy that they found out was literally just lying through his teeth when he was doing. It was like, oh, I'm just going to draw this frog out and make a tadpole, and I'm just going to do this. And he knew it was fake, and they're still using it.
Right. But we know that John Dewey came in 1959, who was a communist, and he was leading the charge for all of our public schools. And we are still reaping the consequences of a communist who was running our schools. By the way, the teacher unions are communist, and they are still teaching our children a lot of very bad things. I could pull out a book for you right now. Tangent. Can I go on a tangent now?
Oh, all right.
Okay, thank you. So I homeschool the kids up until about 8th grade. Then I do put them into public school, and they are fiery. They truly know why they believe what they believe. I homeschool them not to shelter them, although that certainly is a huge plus, but more to like raise up hardcore young girls that know exactly what they believe: God, family, country, in that order.
It makes sense.
So it does. So when their AP teacher says to them in history, now open up your books, which I have the book, I can run and get it for you. I'll get it for you another time. Okay. It literally says, when they're talking about Islam, the Muslim religion actually elevates women above Christianity and Judaism. They really take...
Sorry.
Right? This is an AP world history book.
Sure it is.
So my daughter raises her hand and says, I disagree with that, Mr. Smith, we'll just say, for anonymity purposes.
Because his name is Smith.
Right, exactly. She said, because, they have female genital mutilation over there. See, I've trained my girls well.
Very nice.
My point in sharing this with you is that Victoria had opportunity to have dialogue with her professor. There's 10 other kids in her class. And this has been going on she's a senior now, my oldest. So for the last 4 years in her AP classes. And it has been a remarkable experience for my kids, but the other kids in the class, because they've been red pilling kids in the public school.
Very nice.
Red pilling. But it's not for everyone. If your kid is wishy-washy, do not put them into public school. If you do not have time to keep your finger on the pulse, do not put them into public school.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I tell people all the time that public school for me is way more time consuming than when I had all three home and I was homeschooling them. That truly is the truth. But it's because we feel like public school is our mission field. Like we have a duty to go in there,
I completely agree.
Thank you. I feel like everybody mass exodus, Steven, in like the 70s. And it is so black and dark right now because everybody left that should be teaching truth and common sense and logic.
Yep.
And so I'm encouraging people to go back in if you feel led to do that. But again, you must keep your finger on the pulse. And I also tell them all the time that you have to go in first and foremost with happy, great things. Like when I go in to discuss things with Dr. Smith or Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith, everybody's Smith at my children's school.
It's a weird thing, but they just like Smiths.
Yeah, I live in like the land of Smiths. So when I do go in, it is always starting out with, thank you so much for teaching my children. I know that you're doing an amazing job. We love you so much. Thank you. So let's talk about this book. And I actually brought the book Infidel in. Did you read the book Infidel? This is a really long tangent.
I haven't read it. I haven't read it yet.
So Infidel was written by the woman, Ali. She was kicked off New York University's campus.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. She grew up in Ethiopia, I believe, and she actually did have female genital mutilation.
Yes, she did.
And every night she would just go to sleep listening to women being beaten in her country. That was just normal for her. So I gave that to the library. I also gave it to the professor and said, you need to share truth. I mean, you do want to teach truth to the kids, right? Like it's not about being mean or angry. It's like we need truth.
Right. We need honesty.
Yes, honesty. Like our society is not going to, no society ends well on a foundation that is not based on truth.
Right. And we just happen to have, the past 110 years now, about the last 110 years, the foundations that came in to actually support our country have just been getting slowly knocked away.
Yes.
Chip by chip by chip by piece by piece. And I get you. I understand completely where you're coming with it. And I mean, that same woman that made that book, The Infidel, she has been
persecuted.
Yeah, persecuted crazily here in the United States by the people of the Women's March, by the people that support the Women's March, by the current U.S. Congresswomen that are in the case. But that music right there means that it's time for a commercial break. So we will head to the commercial side. We'll be right back right after this. It's Ayaan Hirsi Ali.
Yes! Solid! That was nowhere in my brain. I knew her first name, but it wasn't coming out with the last name.
Ayaan Hirsi Ali. I got it. I remembered it.
Let me tell you something. Feminists are the greatest threat to every woman in the United States of America. Greatest threat. Oh, yeah. And I will pay for a one-way ticket to send them to Syria to march over there for women's rights.
You can march over there all you want. I mean, don't. So here's the thing. We are so short-sighted as a society. And I know we're on a commercial break, and so whatever.
I know.
We're so short-sighted as a society. I mean, we know. In the 70s, in the 60s and the 70s, before the Shahs and everybody else came to Iran and Iraq and all that mess, they were almost as liberal as Americans were when it came to dress and code and everything else. We know it happened. We know it happened. How can you look there and say, oh, that's actually more freedom for women right now?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
It drives me insane. But here's the hypocrisy too. These feminists, the leftists, never thought modesty from a Christian, let's say. So in every religion, whether it's the Jewish, the Christian, the Catholic, the
coverings and
Islam,
all that rest.
Right. And you have the Christian women who cover themselves from here down to their knees, okay? Whatever.
Sure.
Well, they would get made fun of, right? Yeah.
Yes, they would.
They would get made fun of by the left, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Suddenly now the Islams, like their men are treating them well because, oh, it's modesty. No.
Okay, we're about to come back, so. And we're back. This is Defenders Live on Mojo 50 Radio. I have with me very well tonight Carla Didassi.
Very good.
Yes, okay, got it.
Perfect.
I don't know why it just skipped in my head. And if you weren't listening over the commercial break because you're actually listening to the radio side and not on the Facebook or the video feeds or anything like that, it's Ayaan Hirsi Ali. I know it is. You don't have to tell me. I know you guys have put it in there like 10 times now. I got it. It's Ayaan Hirsi Ali. I got it. It's okay. It's all right. I'm there. So
I was having a brain freeze.
We all have those from time to time to time. But before we get back into it, let me tell you guys about Tar River Arms. Tar River Arms is America's first virtual gun store and is making it easier and more comfortable than ever to purchase your firearms online. They're modernizing online sales for firearms to accommodate the online generation. And those who prefer the brick-and-mortar experience to anything else, through their 3D interactive experiences, you can view and inspect a gun perfectly. You can see the grains of dust if they haven't cleaned the guns properly in the photography going through the site. They have weekly specials that eliminate shipping and brokerage fees. They have great guns at great prices and great service. They're also veteran-owned and veteran-run. TRAGuns.com is the website. TRAGuns.com. Tell them Steven over at Mojo 50 sent you. TRAGuns.com. By the way, they have layaway and consignment options available for those people on a small budget. Go find the best thing that you can get today to protect your Second Amendment rights and maybe even your wife and her children's rights. TRAGuns.com. Tell them Steven over at Mojo sent you. Okay. You have a story from Israel that you said has been bothering you a little bit. Tell me about it. What's going on there?
So I was reading this morning, actually worldwide, what's happening with life worldwide. And, you know, I didn't realize that Israel, although on the books they show that abortion is illegal.
Right.
You can go, evidently, before a judge and give them your story. And it sounds similar to the United States, where you can just claim that you are emotionally not stable to have a child. And then they will allow you to abort the child.
Is this a religious court or is this a court? A legal
This
court.
is a court. This is a
legal
court.
Okay. All right.
And it says specifically that also abortion on demand, so taking the morning after pill, is illegal in Israel. However, the procedure is free, easy, and culturally condoned. So although it's illegal, you can go and get free pills to abort your child in Israel. I know, right? And so let me tell you how many babies have been aborted in Israel. And they said that nobody talks about it, right? So again, it's illegal. It's hush. Right, exactly. So, I mean, at least that's a bonus, right? Because here we actually have Shout Your Abortion t-shirts. We have Gloria Steinem wearing I Had an Abortion shirt.
Oh, Gloria Steinem.
I know.
Did
she
you see,
is a terrorist of women.
I talked about this. I talked about this yesterday. Did you see the lesbian, tatted, foul-mouthed pastor?
Oh.
Yes.
That's like an oxymoron coming out of everywhere.
I know. She comes from an evangelical Lutheran church, apparently.
Another oxymoron.
Right. Thank you.
Evangelical Lutheran. Why did you just throw in like charismatic in there? Calvinist.
Here, you're gonna love this. Okay, she started a campaign. Okay, and the campaign was to you remember the promise rings sort of thing.
Yes.
You'd go buy them at the Christian store.
Rings.
Yeah.
Sure.
The abstinence choice.
Purity rings.
It's the purity ring. It says I promise on it and purity and all that stuff. She got a whole load of women to send in their purity rings, and she melted it down and made a vagina statue out of it and gave it to Gloria Steinem.
So are they going to be wearing promiscuity rings?
Yes, actually. Yes.
For another one?
Yes. They're made of plastic. Yeah. They're called impurity rings.
Yeah, this is the stupidity of the feminists. They are absolutely certifiably nuts.
Yeah.
I reject them completely, and they make me embarrassed as a woman. So back to Israel, 19,000 babies were legally aborted in Israel after they went through the court system. 19,000 in 2016. They don't have that. That's the last statistic that they have. But yeah, you and I were talking a little bit about how you think that it's a very devout Christian, religious country.
Generally speaking, yes.
Protecting life. And obviously, even they have gone down this slippery slope of convenience, right? It's really not birth control. It's being used as birth control. I think that abortion is being used as birth control. It's convenience.
Yeah.
So, and these lesbian feminist pastors that took all the purity rings and made a vagina statue for Gloria Steinem.
Specifically.
Right, specifically. Again, that's their God, I guess. Again, just so backwards, hard to understand. People that want to protect and say that they're championing for women's rights, and yet they are pounding into these women that you have to be promiscuous to be accepted. You have to be promiscuous to be something powerful. You have to have abortions to be something powerful. So I reject that an STD is a badge of honor.
It isn't.
I reject that an abortion is a badge of honor.
It's not.
I would like to get back to teaching our young women and our young men that abstinence is a viable option.
Right.
And that you can wait until you meet an amazing wife, an amazing husband. But again, the feminists are teaching. This is a direct quote from Gloria Steinem. She has so many idiotic ones.
Right.
I don't know if she was taking a lot of LCD in the 60s, but one that she said is have all of the sex that you can before marriage, and after marriage, start your career.
Okay.
So I'm teaching my daughters, as well as my parents taught me, abstain and pursue your abstain from sex before marriage.
No.
Pursue your career, whether it's pursuing tennis, music, writing lessons, lacrosse, learn a language, study in college, become a hairdresser. I don't care what you choose to do.
Right.
There's a million things. Become a painter. There's a million things plumber. I don't care what you do. Become president of the United States, young men and young women who are listening to this.
You can.
And then get married and then have all the amazing sex that you want to have.
Sure.
In the safety of marriage, and don't get any STDs.
Well, it's not just the safety of marriage. It is the joining of marriage. It is the privilege of marriage. It is one of the gifts of marriage. It's not just safety. I mean, safety's good.
But that's a bonus of it. That's a bonus.
It's a bonus. It's nice. It's, you know that the person, unless they're cheating on you and you don't know it, but you know that generally speaking that person is yours and yours alone. So the only thing that would happen is if somebody did something wrong, and then
can we say wrong? Is that politically correct to say wrong?
Wrong. Yes, wrong. It is wrong.
I am so proudly politically incorrect.
Cheating on your spouse is wrong.
It offends me when people are politically correct. Like, that's what offends me.
It is. It's very offensive when people are politically correct. But you have this idea that marriage is one of those things that people want to steer away from as long as possible to go through. And I'm all for, getting your life together and having this ideal job situation and getting your stuff to the place where you want to go. But at the same point in time, I'm also a guy who is 32 and has been married for 10 years and with the same person for 13. I can't tell you that getting married at a young age is a bad idea as long as you actually know the person and you understand what's going on and both of you have worked out all those kinks that happen to make sure that you aren't going to be, the 5-year rut. You're not going to have that happen to you. You know what I mean?
So I got married at 25 years old, and I've been married for 22 years. Don't do the math.
I'm not doing any math. What do you?
No
math.
Math. I was a child bride.
I was told there's not going to be math here.
Let's use Common Core math. I'm only 30.
Right.
So yes, I agree with you. I think that marriage is something that you have to commit to every day, that you're going to work towards a better marriage. But I have discovered in marriage that I believe it elevates the husband and the wife. I love using those terms. I'm sure I'm triggering many liberals that might be watching.
Perfect.
I think that marriage is something that when you go into it very seriously, and this is very sacred, that it's absolutely the best institution ever.
It is.
And that it really does make both people very successful. My husband's my biggest fan and I'm his biggest fan. And I actually put him through medical school.
Very nice.
Yes. And, he's my biggest fan now. And we know all of the stats, right? We know the stats from marriage, people that stay together. Our children have a less of a chance of being incarcerated, less of a chance of being poverty stricken, less of a chance of being anxious and depressed. We know that single moms, their kids have a higher chance of incarceration, a higher chance of illiteracy, a higher chance of drug addiction. Now, again, why is the feminist movement, Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, going back to Margaret Sanger, who started Planned Parenthood. These
we can always go back to her.
We can always go back to her, the big eugenicist racist.
Right.
Now, if you want to use racist in the proper term, you can call Margaret Sanger a racist. That's just true.
Yes, you can. She is properly a racist.
Correct. So why these feminists are telling our young girls that they don't need a man, right? Gloria Steinem said that women need a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Dumbest quote. And then, by the way, she ended up getting married and divorced.
Right,
But
because, that makes sense for her.
And listen, did you know, I did a study on the feminist movement. I did a study on Betty Friedan, on Gloria Steinem, on Margaret Sanger. These women either did not have fathers in their lives at all, no fathers, absentee fathers, or their fathers were drunks and alcoholics. So the first men in their lives they hated, and it set them off on this hatred of men, and then almost hating themselves because they want to be a man. It's just filled with hate. The whole feminist movement is filled with hate. They hate men, they hate women, they hate themselves, they hate babies, they hate children. They're haters. And I want to say, we want to invite you to be a part of the lovers. We are pro-women, strong women. We love our men. We love our kids. Is that like a little odd for me when you do that?
No. See, okay, so here's the thing. I usually let people know about this.
You left me in the dark on this. Gosh,
I left you in the dark,
thing.
and I haven't been using it.
So
I haven't been using it, but if I'm too bell deficient during the show, I will get called out for it. So, this is an innuendo bell. And anything you say,
like
whether it's on purpose or inadvertent, generally is supposed to get a bell.
You probably should have been ringing that the whole entire hour that we've been together.
Once again, I will get blamed for not using it, so I had to put it in there a little bit. Our entire first half didn't have a single bell in it, and I know that I'm gonna get hell for this. It's gonna be terrible, but it's okay. It's all right. We're gonna keep on going.
I'll make sure that I go on and defend.
Thank you.
Us. I will. I'm strong like that.
But no, so you're doing exactly what you want, what you need to do to make sure that things are happening. You're creating some sort of group, a foundation, some sort of place where people can be together. Plus, you're making a fashion line in essence. You have shirts, hats, bags. Is that bags?
Yes. We have bags, accessory bags. We have pop sockets. Remember, we are creating a life tribe. Mm-hmm. I'm not one of these people that likes to just complain about things. Right. I'm very much proactive. So I don't like what the left is doing and that they're stealing the language and the messaging of our kids and honestly is selling them poison. So I want to sell them life. I want to sell them goodness. I want to sell them happiness and joyfulness and victory. And, again, just go to our site, Instagram pages. Everything's at Cole 1972 official. And just like you said, that Patriot Mobile gives back to positive things. Yep. Cole 1972 gives back to celebration of life organizations. People don't like that I'm not using pro-life. We're giving back to pro-life organizations. Does that make you happy?
Okay, yes.
We're giving back to pro-life.
Sure.
But
it's not really pro. What are you saying when you're saying pro-life?
I'm more than pro-life. I'm more than pro-life. I'm not just for life. I celebrate life.
Yes.
I love life. Life is a treasure. Life is a gift. Life is priceless. That is what our messaging says. Yeah. So, yes.
And
so
you
get that.
You have some really good gear, by the way.
Thanks. Are you looking at our website right now?
I am. I'm looking at your website right now. That's why my eyes are kind of scrolling up and down. I'm looking at your website.
I love that. So we have flash sales all the time. Go to Cole1972.com, sign up for our newsletter because we have flash sales. We have free shipping. And I also tell you once a week, every Monday is Mission Monday. So I will tell you, this week is Mission Monday. We gave back to Birthright in Westchester, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
This is where your money went. Mission Monday, we paid to charter the bus that went down to the March for Life. So because I want to see your money in action. I've been a part of the pro-life movement since I told you the story of that girl on my hall that did choose to have an abortion. I was the only one that's saying, please keep the child or give it up for adoption. And that was the first year back in 1990 something that I had a pro-life rally on my campus. I had somebody from Liberty University. Liberty University was around in the 90s.
Yeah.
I had somebody come and speak at Elizabethtown College. That's where I went to school in Lancaster.
Awesome.
And that just basically started me. I think you know that I'm also an executive board member on Susan B. Anthony list.
Yes.
So this is something that is very near and dear to my kids' hearts. We did kick out Planned Parenthood out of one of our local Berks County schools.
Nicely done.
Summer 2017. They were trying to get into the kids' school under Access Matters. Remember, these people are not truthful. So they changed their name to Access Matters, but they were using all Planned Parenthood counselors.
Yes, and they were doing what they were basically infiltrating schools under the guise of education about sex education awareness.
Correct.
Is that what that was? That's what that was, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
And so I was quoted as saying that Planned Parenthood does not need to come into our inner city schools because those kids can teach them, I'm sure, there too.
Yeah,
Let's
probably
face it,
so.
they have Netflix now. Okay, give me a break. They just want to have access to 5,000 kids. And when we blew the top off of this, when we were like researching what was happening with Access Matters, we discovered that they're already in all of our Philadelphia public schools. They're already in our Pittsburgh public schools. So for any of you listeners out there, make sure that Access Matters is, and by the way, they always know to prey on our inner city schools, right?
Yes. You know, that's racist.
It is racist.
To point it out. To point it out as racist. Not to do it, but to point it out as racist.
And I said that to them. I said, you know what? Do you think that the only thing that our inner city kids need is more sex in the schools? Because I think maybe they could have a math tutor center here or a debate club.
Oh, that's so weird. Why would you do that?
I know, right? Or a running club or a dietitian, you know, like pick 1,000 things that would be better for our inner city kids than having Planned Parenthood move in and have access from 7:15 in the morning until 2:15 in the afternoon. I mean, I was fired up. I'm being very calm for you right now, but I was pretty fired up about this.
You can be as fired up as you want to be on the show. It's okay.
You know that if they're coming into our inner city kids' schools, they're eventually going to come to the suburban schools. And guess what? They're also going to come to your Christian schools, your religious schools, and your private schools. If you do not stand up for what's bad in the inner city schools or other places in other communities, it's going to come to your community. And then who's going to stand up for you?
It's the entire process of everything. Yeah, exactly. If you don't stand up against the things that are bad when they're happening to people that aren't you, by the time that it gets to you, there will be nobody else to stand against it. And you'll just be run over by everything else. It's the same thing that's happening.
In our public schools, and even sex ed in our public schools, is bad. If tax dollars is going to something, Stephen, I'd rather be going to geography, Latin, math, chess, gym, healthy eating, you know, biology, plumbing.
Learning a second or third language.
Yes, a second, third language. Anything. Current events.
You know what? You can even pay the teachers more. That's okay.
Yeah, piano, music, you know, learn how to play an instrument.
Right.
But no Planned Parenthood in our public schools. I actually know a lot of women that went into politics in the 70s when Planned Parenthood was coming into the kids' school with the sex ed. You have to have me back on to talk about this.
Oh, no, we can. We would definitely.
You know what's happening in California right now. They're trying to get into 5-year-olds and teach them about sexual things.
What isn't happening in California?
I know, you're right. I mean,
what isn't happening in California? All I got to do is turn on the news.
But sometimes I think we were just 49 states. Can I say that? Like off the record. I just said for the record, but off the record, sometimes I wish that it was just 49 states because California is a mess.
No. What we can do is we can make California a protectorate again, and then we can take Puerto Rico and make it a state. And then we'll have 50 states still.
Puerto Rico. I'd like to build the southern border right around California. Is that mean? That is so mean.
It's not a southern border then. Then it's just the border.
Yeah, it's just the border. Exactly. We need a secure border.
Yeah, because, you know, speaking of abortions and children's rights and things like that, when you have so many people that flood across the border is actually one of the biggest areas of sex trafficking across our lands. And what happens with sex trafficking? Forced abortions. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's another tie-in. By the way, if you guys are sick to your stomach now by all the conversation about abortion and about everything else that's going on, maybe you should go to lovemytummy.com/mojo. Lovemytummy.com/mojo. You can get a 90-day supply of Atrantil. Atrantil is the world's first over-the-counter proven solution for bloating and GI tract issues. It was developed by a board-certified gastroenterologist, Ken Brown, who is a butt man, apparently. Safe for daily use, 100% natural polyphenols, designed for addressing bloating issues where they begin and not just treating the symptoms. It's not a probiotic, not an antibiotic. This is a blend of polyphenols desired by your body to work as a gut regulator and then end the methane production as well as function as a postbiotic to benefit your overall health. Your health, your mental state, everything about you starts in the gut. So take a chance on making yourself better. Go to lovemytummy.com/mojo, promo code mojo. Get a 3 boxes. That's what is it? 3 times 9 is 180. No, 27. 270 capsules. 270 capsules. Normally, a 90 capsule box is $39.95. You get 3 months for only $100, $99 right there. Go to lovemytummy.com/mojo, promo code mojo. Because I had to throw that last one in there. Just kind of sling it in. Anyway, so yeah, we have the border, we have all those issues that are coming from there, and then you have the abortions that we're trying to deal with here. Plus, you have the forced killings of hundreds of thousands of millions of people over in China, in the Middle East, forced abortions in Egypt now, you were saying?
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that before
Egypt
we started
just started
the show.
one-child policy. Yes, just started a one-child policy. They're going to be giving benefits to families that only have one child.
Yeah.
So obviously, they're punishing those people that have more than one child. So what's going to happen? We're going to start seeing people like we do in China. If they have a child that they don't want, they're going to be leaving them outside to the elements, to be eaten by wild animals, freezing cold. I mean, who knows what's going to happen to these, infants? It's terrible. And, I always like to end every one of my interviews, and I hope that it's okay that I end this with you this way.
That's okay.
With all of the winning that's happening.
Sure, let's do it.
And so, we do have Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, who are huge celebration of lifers that are on the Supreme Court. I'm pretty sure we're going to have another one that we're going to get in very soon. Just brace yourselves, everybody. You heard it here first, that the battle that we had to engage in to get Kavanaugh in, I don't know what they're going to do for Trump's next nomination, but just brace yourself. They're going to come up with a lot of lies. But I believe that we're going to get another really solid constitutionalist pro-lifer in. We do have heartbeat bills that are being passed now in some of our states.
Yep.
What that is
we've talked about that a couple times on the show.
Perfect. So you know what that is. Your crew knows, your life crew knows what that is. So there is a lot of winning that is happening. And I believe that why we're seeing a lot of craziness from the left with infanticide is because this is their knee-jerk response to being so angry that we are winning for life. We know that Texas also just defunded every Planned Parenthood in the state of Texas.
Yep.
Yahoo! I love the big state of Texas.
Yes.
And they're scared to death that all 49 states are going to follow suit with that, which we should be.
Yes. Well, it's not going to be all 49 states. California's never going to do it. New York's never going to do it.
You're right.
The Massachusetts, all of that upper East Coast,
Oregon,
is not going to do it. Yes.
Washington State, exactly.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. But they get panicked, right? They totally get panicked when they see us winning on some of these things.
Yeah.
And so again, if I can just give a shout out to all of your amazing listeners, if you never want to buy anything from Cole 1972, please just go and give us a like and a follow at Cole 1972 Official, because we are building our life tribe. In a month, we already have 5,000 social media followers.
Awesome.
It is awesome. Thank you. But we are not stopping there. We have much bigger plans. We want to get it to 100,000, 250,000, so that these young kids can see it's cool to defend life. It's cool to stand up for life. It is cool.
It is cool. It's a great thing. I mean, it's one of those things. So it's we have at Cole 1972 Official. That's for Culture of Life. That's their official thing. That's for Twitter there. And then
Instagram, Facebook.
Right. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for that. And if they want to go and follow you directly, it's at Carla Dedesi. That's right. Carla,
and
CarlaDaddesi. That's right. Correct. You heard me. I'm not going to retry it. You heard me. And that's on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Carla Dedesi is not on Insta.
Okay.
It is just on Facebook and Twitter.
Okay. And I
have about 30,000 people following me, and I talk to you every day. I don't have admins. It's me that's talking to you.
Awesome.
And I love to hear from you guys.
And I want to recommend something to you.
Please.
Because specifically with the Jackhole Nation and other such, there is another site. It's called MeWe, MEWE. Go check it out, MeWe.com. It's an app you can get. The Jackhole Nation is on there. You'll find all of the stuff for Mojo 50 there as well. And so you can communicate with them, and they would love to hear from you on the site. So, guys, this has been Defenders Live on Mojo 50 Radio. I have Carla Dedesi with me. It has been a wonderful show to have her on. Don't forget, we have MojoCon coming up in May, and Mojo 5050 Tour coming up at the end of May. We have so many things planned, so many things going on. Go check them out. Mojocon.org, Mojo5050tour.org. Go to our website at doaeshow.org, and it's col1972.com to go find out their stuff. And as for us and everybody else, good night, Doc Thompson. We know where you are. Now, you go home.